the year, I believe. And it's special because we're going to be showing the plans for the new Gully Park expansion, which is an exciting thing. So, hope you, if you hadn't planned to go, I hope you will plan to go. All right, you see our agenda on the screen up here, and I'm going to turn the floor now to Ms. Marsh, Sarah Marsh, who will talk to us about the 2030 plan. And at any time you feel like you want to ask a question, just raise your hand. Thank you.
Okay, actually we had some technical difficulties today, so the presentation I put together didn't happen according to plan, but that's okay. We're gonna improvise, and actually I think tonight it would be best if we start with our trail, sidewalks, and street update, and then we will have more of a guided discussion about the 2030 city plan, and that way we can just hear your questions and respond to those directly. So Terry, would you like to give us a sidewalk, streets and trails update?
The sidewalk that we got going on, we're in the process of completing Rock Street over by the Richardson Center from College down the hill there.
Hey, Terry, if this is here, terrible. We can't hear you.
All right, I will talk loud.
So come on now, project, folks.
There's a microphone there.
Yeah, the sidewalk on Rock Street, we're completing essentially this week with all the concrete work, and we'll be overlaying that street, milling and overlaying next week, so then we'll be out of the repair and they're able to cut back through the old way through town. Well, anyway, it should be great improved. The water that always ran down through there, we improved the drainage that actually came across the highway north from the Fayetteville building area. That will be all underground, so that won't be plaguing us when and if it gets cold again this winter. We also just paved Dixon Street this week, so it's complete. The gas company completed they're the ones that's been working there lately. They completed that, we've got that paved, so that's also complete. Another sidewalk we've got going on is just down the street, Morningside. We're completing the rest of that. We did that first section. If you wonder why we stopped and didn't finish it all the way to Huntsville, it's because we got federal funding through Ozark Transit, a grant that they applied for to fund the first 2/3 of it 3 or 4 years ago. So that part went that far, and we got to add that year. We came back and we're adding the rest of it this year. We've got the drainage pipe mostly installed, and we'll be moving in and putting in the sidewalk and connecting it to Huntsville. So those are the major sidewalk things going on in the south part of town. College Avenue, not too far away from this area. We're actually ahead of schedule on that. We're hoping to complete that in the next 30 days, other than the trees, and we'll be getting the trees and the lights put in after that. The lights can go in, and that's not have to be blocking a lane of the highway. And then the trees will go in probably more like November after leaves fall, and it's good tree planting time, so we run the risk of losing fewer of them. So those are the major sidewalk things going on down here. Trails wise, we're
Can you all hear? Can y'all still hear?
I can read lips from you.
Okay.
There's also seats at the front.
Oh, just stand up. If Terry stands up,
all
over
right.
here.
I'll get near the mic.
No, yeah, okay.
That's not good.
Huh?
The mic's pointing towards us.
Sometimes they have one
It's
each
for
way.
the
but
film. It's not.
It's for y'all to come up and tell us how great we're doing and pat us on the back. So I'm just kind of seeding the crowd. Trail-wise, we're working on Cater Springs Trail right now, south of Cater Springs. We pretty much got it poured from Razorback Road, just not connected to it, over under the train trestle and up a pretty good ways back, probably halfway back from the train trestle to Cater Springs Road. We're working on it right now. Earlier this week, we poured 640 feet one day. We poured 95 yards of concrete in one section we had. There'll be some gaps there for now. We're still working with one property owner trying to get an easement across their property. But if you see us gone from that, we've got Clyde Creek Trail also over on the west part of town. We're going through a wetland and putting in a boardwalk. And we've had that planned for August, hoping it would be dry. 7 inches of rain in July is not a normal July, but it's drier than it has been. So we're going to be over there for probably 5 to 6 weeks working on that. So if you see less activity down here, that's why we'll be coming back here immediately on completing that boardwalk. But that's we're in the process right now of bidding out the other sections of that trail over to the regional park. Some of that is going to be bid out and be done by contractors, not us. We'll have sections we do going under the interstate and all is going to be contracted out. There'll also be a tunnel going underneath Razorback Road near the cemetery over by Fulbright Expressway. So we will not be crossing that 4-lane stretch there at grade like it is further down Razorback Road. It'll be underground more like it is up on Garland. So that's the major things going on. The loop around towards Challaghee is pretty much complete other than the one section down by the old Mitchell Oil, kind of behind the Wendy's down there. That property owner, we're kind of hoping it will develop and we'll get that property donated for purchase. So that's kind of the status on that. That's the only section, only section of that not completed this time making that. Those are the main trails we're working on this year. And we'll be running into next year. Pretty much next year we'll complete the Cato Springs Trail and connect to the regional park. So it's kind of where we are on that.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
I have a question about the ditches on the south side. Is there any future plan to?
South side particular area?
Yeah, south side of town. Because there's lots of open ditches to drain the water off from the streets. And I'm just wondering if there's a plan to eventually put a drain pipe in and cover those? Or, I mean, are there other parts of town that have the same thing, or is it mostly on the south side?
No, it's mostly anywhere out of the core downtown. You have that situation, whether it's 45 East or Skilling Road, some areas like that have that. Out west is the same way. But further from the core, the more there is like that. A lot of times we're addressing those things. Like Morningside was an open ditch.
Right.
We closed it to be able to put the sidewalk on the right of way. It creates a much more expensive sidewalk installation because we got to install all the drainage to go with it. So it's not something we have a lot of money for, but as we improve sidewalks or improve roads where we add curb, then generally that's going to be done. It's not something we just want to do everywhere, especially if it's on steep streets, because it really speeds up the water flow, which cuts down on the infiltration rates. So we have to watch that and have the ability to slow that down at some point and get that sediment out of it, because it'll move it a lot quicker and it doesn't walk out. But we look at that whenever we're looking at the sidewalk project. A lot of times we'll do 1 or 2 street projects a year where we'll rebuild curb and gutter, drainage, overlay, and maybe add sidewalks. And we did that most recently probably on South Street. That had open ditches, we enclosed those and put the drainage underground. And that was a major project because there wasn't anywhere to take the drainage other than to bring it all the way across the Pizza Hut parking lot and drop it into the storm drain at Highway 71.
Right.
So we are looking at that. I just don't have a huge bucket of money to fund 10 of those a year. It's kind of looked at on an individual basis as we do other improvements on either the street or the sidewalk.
Well, over on Washington and around Walker Park, it's fairly flat there, and the water will sit there for several days after it rains, and the mosquitoes, it really helps the mosquito problem in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I just wondered if there was a future plan for that.
Well, I'll keep that in mind as we look at the projects in the future.
Alright. Thank you.
Candy, I believe had a question. Candy?
And actually, would you come up to the microphone so the people at home can
Oh,
hear
you'll
you?
hear me, trust me.
Okay.
I don't know if this is to YouTube or to Terry. but the issue on South Stonebridge Road is getting more and more critical. It's between Lyman and Stone Mountain. I've lived there 13 years. It has not been touched. One side of the street is nothing but open ditch that is getting deeper and running faster and cutting under the asphalt. The other side has a curb, maybe a gutter, but there's no place for people, I don't think it's anything. There's no place for people to walk. It is incredibly dangerous, and our traffic has increased because for some reason, even with the new beautiful stoplight at the intersection of Huntsville and Stonebridge, people still cut through and go over to get back on crossover. It's getting frustrating. Since Mayor Hanna's day, we have documentation assuring us it would be addressed and fixed. Nothing's happened. So who do I go to? My older people or my wonderful transportation? Adela has looked at it because we talked to you. We talked to you on down the street.
I've got a list here. These are by ward.
I just want to know how to get on the damn list.
It's on the
Because I've
list.
seen a
It's on
ton
the-
of properties that are more urbanized, I guess. That was the term that I got back in an email, being addressed and fixed. Well, we're not urbanized, and I don't even want to be urbanized. I want to be out in the middle, the edge of the city where nobody knows where we are. But my tax dollars still surprise me when they go to the city of Fayetteville. So, we're building. My God,
It is
Stone
on the
Mountain's
list.
almost built out.
It's on a list that is
Where?
14 and a half years long to complete. But every
Oh,
sidewalk
no, no, no.
request, well, I mean, we have a 9-person crew that works on those.
And I respect them. They do a great job. I
That we
just need to see
build
them
out.
at my house.
But there's a limited amount of distance we can do each year. So
Terry,
what
we're
we
talking
do.
no distance.
Huh?
We're talking no distance in 13 years. That's a little slow even for the city. Yeah, where is Stonebridge on? When can we
It's
anticipate?
on a list that we take from that list to create each year's plan.
I'm on lots of lists, but when might we be able to expect? Yes, Sarah, yes. Jump in.
We've talked about the sidewalk prioritization in our active transportation advisory committees, and because we felt like we were not getting the right distribution of work done in the city. And so what we did was we came up with a list of prioritization criteria such as proximity to schools and transit stops, proximity to other amenities, the density of development, and we've kind of developed a matrix that we're going to be looking at this next time so that it's less willy-nilly, and we're actually going to make these decisions at the Active Transportation Advisory Committee so that the public can be a part, give us their comments, and understand what goes into making the decisions of who gets sidewalks when. Because it's very complex, and I get tons of requests for sidewalks continuously, and so we can't just say, oh, you've been asking 14 years, you're first. Instead, we have to look at what resources we have and where they're most efficiently applied. So I hope that you will come to those meetings and, or at least watch them and help understand that process. But it is definitely something we've been looking at, and also we're going to, the new transportation master plan will also help us address some of these issues and help us just figure out, because we don't have enough money to go around. We don't have enough staff to go around. So it's a basis of, where is the most need? And quite frankly, when you're in an area where it's not going to get a lot of pedestrian use, it's not connecting kids from a neighborhood to a school, those are harder to get funded.
Well, but it does, because Happy Hollow is right across the street on the crossover. It does. And it sounds like, and I don't know if the rest of these folks agree with me, that you're defining South Fayetteville out of your equation. And you're going with population, you're going with amenities. Not our fault we don't have a lot of amenities, but it is the city's fault we don't even have a covered ditch. That ditch is dangerous. If anybody wants to walk up Stonebridge right now, including children going to school, they have nowhere to jump if there's a car that's driving crazy. And God knows we don't want another speed bump. Thank you very much. And what you're telling me, Sarah, is that you are defining us out of your equation.
I'm telling you that we have a
from
limited
my
amount of
own-
resources that we have to distribute through the community. And actually South Fayetteville has some of the most densest areas of population growth in the entire
And
city.
maybe that's where I disagree with you. Your job is to represent us, not the rest of Fayetteville. You're a South Fayetteville alderman. Adela is very vocal about South Fayetteville, at least has been now. I think Gary's enticed her to retire. But I need a voice. Yeah, not for 2 years. I need a voice that represents our area much more firmly, much more strongly, and not think about, well, the rest of the city. Yes, the rest of the city has priorities. They have 2 elected people to stand up and talk about those priorities. You're mine. And I need you to
And I've been the
talk
one
about
who's
our
advocating for for funding for sidewalks on South School
Not
Avenue.
talking about
Rebuilding,
sidewalks.
well, that's Ward 1 too.
Even
And
covered
rebuilding
ditch
at
would
the
help.
intersection at 15th, I've been advocating for all these trails and enhanced build out in South Fayetteville. And I've been working my butt off to get sidewalks and investment in South Fayetteville.
But
I'm
what
sorry
you're
that it's not
telling me
in one
now
particular
is
street.
there are other priorities. Oh, I'm sorry.
I do agree, you know, when we were looking at the sidewalk plan last time and deciding on our priorities, and I saw how close that was to Happy Home. And I know that the mayor did say, a couple of years ago, that he wanted definitely the sidewalks close to schools. So I will keep that in mind in voicing my, priority for that particular area.
The streets
And
also
actually,
need
one of the
road
first things that I did was
traffic.
request a sidewalk along, is that Huntsville Road to connect the Seven Hills homeless shelter to, or what was then the Seven Hills homeless shelter to downtown. So it's, I don't know what else to do.
Well, let me give you a little more background before we move on subjects, but just so everybody has an idea. What we do in the transportation division, we keep a running list. If an alderman brings us a sidewalk, if a citizen calls us, if we get a email on the city's website that anybody can make a request for something, anybody plus ones we see, we put on a master list, and we have a list by ward. This is happens to be Ward 1. There's about 15 on here. Stonebridge is on here. To give you an example of what's been requested in this ward, is equal to material cost of $1.7 million. The material cost for that particular sidewalk, Stonebridge to Wyman, is $250,000, $248,000 and change. It's expensive. That's one that's difficult because we would have to do drainage. We would have to put the drainage in, build a sidewalk on top of the drainage. So it's not a cheap one. We do look at connections to school. The difficulty, and we've talked to other people in that area south of Wyman about talking about their kids walking to school, and they go, because there is no crosswalk and there's no safe crosswalk in Wyman to get across to that elementary school. The only safe place is to go to the light. And the minute we say that to somebody, well, I'm not going to make my kids walk that far out of the way. I'm going to drive them. So that one compared to a school that the sidewalk is going straight to it, that straight to school is probably going to get priority over one that is running parallel that still is a quarter mile away from where you're going to cross it. We take all those things into consideration. Schools, proximity, connectivity to other stretches of sidewalks. A few years ago we did stretches on Gregg Avenue. We were missing 2,000 feet. By putting in the random 2,000 feet here and there, we connected 7,000 feet of sidewalk. That was continuous. So we look at all those things. But that's Ward 1. And if I look at all the requests for the entire city, just in material costs, that's not counting a contractor to do it or our crews, it's $6.4 million worth of requested sidewalks. Construction time is 3,600 days. We have about 200 working days per year. So if you divide that out, that's where the 14.5 years worth of work is. But in all that too, there's 41,000 foot of pipe installed, 66,000 feet of curb, and 84,000 feet of sidewalk. You know, our best year ever is doing about 20,000 feet. But you know, when we started this program back in the 90s and when we really ramped it up in about 03, when I got to the transportation division, we've done a lot of them that are near schools, rolling hills, some others like that that fed directly to school, that were nice and flat, lots of right of way, easy to do. We're down to where we don't have easy ones to do now. But it's on the list, it's been on the list. We will talk about it at that committee. We usually go to each set of aldermen in each ward and ask them what is the priority in their ward when we go to developing that plan also. So it's not blown off, it's just overwhelmed with the number that we're requesting.
So, by your criteria, I mean, those are something that's more important and more critical When have you ever been?
Well, the big thing that Sarah said is we're having a transportation study done now, and they're being charged with help us to develop matrix for that. And they're not looking about just one particular ward, they're looking as a city as a whole. And it's also, yes, they're your alderman's elected, but I'm gonna come to their defense is, this is a city as a whole also, and they've got to look at where does the benefit of all, not just the wards. You look at the wards also, but we all live in the same city. So that's a challenge that everybody has to do. And if Ward 2, 3, 4 decide that the others are more important this year, or if they only wanted to do College Avenue and they directed all the money there, then they're outvoted. Yes, ma'am.
May I ask, I'd like to make a comment, but also ask a question. I live on Stonebridge Road too, and I don't know how many years ago it was, but the city did come in and put drainage on one side of the Stonebridge because that side of Stonebridge flooded consistently. And so that was a tremendous benefit, and it really helps. That was the opposite side on
The
which
lower part there.
No, actually, it's on the east side of the whole road. They went all the way up and down the road, and they put drainage in because it was flooding out the houses at the bottom of the road. I don't know how many years ago it was done, but it was a drain, it's covered, it's got curbing and everything. It's just the side that I live on that doesn't have the curbing. But my question is, I understand about budgeting and limited funds and all this. I do want to make one comment about, my husband's very diligent about calling the city when something needs done in our neighborhood. And we've often called the city to ask them to come and trim the trees back on our side of the road where the open ditch is. And that tremendously helps to open up the road for anybody who wants to walk. But it would also, the problem that we see, I think as Candy mentioned, is that people really ignore the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. There's kind of a double hill there, and it's a blind. So that if somebody is flying over that hill going south, and they're walking on the side of the road, then, it's a dangerous situation. Obviously, signage doesn't stop them, but me and the neighbors have discussed, if we put a speed bump in at the top of that hill, that would slow those cars down before they start going over that, then that would help tremendously as far as the safety factor goes. And it might not be that expensive, I don't know. But I think the neighborhood would support that.
They're
And,
$5,000 to $6,000.
well, that would be an easy fix.
The problem is right now,
I understand, but
we've had no funding for speed tables or speed control devices for about the last 10 years.
That's why I wanted to just enter
Yeah.
that as a suggestion.
It's brought up.
Because it would be an easy fix without a major investment.
And they're just so you know, there's about 45 to 60, somewhere in that neighborhood, of requests for speed
Well,
tables.
that's fine,
But
if
there
we
just
could
hasn't-
just maybe get it on the list, that would be great.
I understand, and it's been brought
But
up.
I will compliment the city on the fact that, the problem is, it's great because we also have a lot of trees. The city comes through, they clean that out, they're great about doing that.
Let us know when that's a problem, that's my division also,
But
and we'll
if
respond
we
to
could
that.
just
But
slow them down.
you
and
telling us those type of
open up the
things helps
trees.
us. We don't look at that that's a problem.
Yeah.
If we don't know about it, we
Right.
can't fix it, and then we'd
Well,
rather fix it while it's
I said
a
my-
minimal problem, and you're not irritated at us for not showing up because we didn't know about it.
No, I
'Cause
compliment the city on the
We
service.
can't just go out and get everywhere, because I've got a 6-man crew that is doing all the
And
mowing
that's it.
on all these new medians and everything,
Right.
plus doing that.
I'm
trimming.
complimenting the city
No, I
on your
get
service.
it, I
because,
appreciate that.
You guys have been great.
Call
about
us when
doing
you
that.
need us.
And one of the things that we were gonna talk about tonight, we'll just address it right now, is do you call Sarah or me, or do you call to the city, to one of those people? And we talked about it, and generally, I think it's better if you email, if you have email capabilities, email to Sarah and me, both of us at once. And we will send it on to Terry. That's what I've done. Many of you know that. And send it to Terry or to Andrew or someone. We sort of know who we're supposed to send it to. If not, we'll find out.
Well,
But-
if you know, just send it to
Right.
both of us.
Right.
I mean, then we'll get it quicker and we respond. I mean, if you call us and we don't respond, then eventually I'm gonna call you back. If somebody else took it and we didn't get it done, and I wanna know about that too.
My husband's got your phone number on speed dial, and y'all have always been great about response, so.
Well, like I said, if we can't catch it all as quick as the people living adjacent to it, so if you tell us you're more, it's a little bit squeaky wheel. If you tell us, we're going to get to you quicker because we've got a phone call. And we try to.
George, I think.
Yeah, this is not about new sidewalks. I live just a couple of blocks away from here. I live on 13th Street between Washington and College. I'm wanting to know what about existing sidewalks. We walk or park, and we come back up Ella, and then turn on Washington. And the house on the corner the shrubs are totally overgrown, blocking the sidewalk, blocking the drainage ditch. I mean, it's a mess. You have to walk out into the street, walk around it, and then you can
George,
go
have
back.
you called anyone about that?
No, that's what I would like to know. What can we do about
Just
that?
call us.
Call me and I will get it straight.
Or
Yeah.
call the
Well,
transportation.
You know, if you're online, the new city website has a great service request form right on the front page, and it goes right into their work order.
Okay.
If you use that, I do that to report things on the trail.
We check that day.
You know, because it concerns me, somebody that's in a wheelchair, I mean, this is what concerns me. People that are in wheelchairs need to be able to use sidewalks.
Sure.
And when they're blocked because people are letting stuff overgrow,
Just be sure to tell us about it.
I will, I'll
Take
post some
care of it.
pictures.
Well, and
Yes.
technically, if you read the ordinance, if it's adjacent to your property or in your property, you should keep that trim. Straight vertical line from the back of the sidewalk, 8 feet high.
Or shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I understand that, but, you know,
Right.
70%
You know,
or
a lot of
higher,
those are red houses.
Yeah.
70% or higher of the
If
people
they're
in
not
town
charging what
do
they
that.
do minimum.
But 70% of people do that.